Book Series presents Raw Romance Readers and Writers Experience. Save the date, October 28th and 29th, 2022. Brown Book Series presents Raw Romance Readers and Writers Experience, October 28th and 29th, 2022 at the Westin Old Town Alexandria, featuring some of your favorite romance authors: Brenda Jackson, Beverly Jenkins, Iris Boland, Deborah Fletcher Mello, and so much more. The Raw Experience will include book signings, meet and greet, photo ops, vendors, shopping, surprise celebrity guests, and live performances. Registration is wide open at brownbookseries.com. Save the date, October 28th and 29th, 2022. Brown Book Series presents Raw Experience.
Good evening, everybody. This is Cruz, the Beast from the East with Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8 TV. And it is Thursday evening here in the Cap City at 6:04 p.m. Hope that you've had a terrific Thursday. Tonight, we're going to be dealing with a serious conversation, and some of the routine things that I normally do, I will not be doing tonight to ensure that we give State Senator Joe Morrissey ample time in our discussion. So we asked a couple of things. As you see, the phone lines will not be opened tonight because we do want to concentrate on what Senator Morrissey has to say. And also, if you're going to be making any comments, please understand that negative comments will not be aired. And I'm asking you, if you have any comments, please refrain from being negative or distasteful or anything along that line. We want to make sure that we respect our guests at all times. I am, again, honored to have State Senator Joe Morrissey here with me this evening. And Senator Morrissey, good evening. How are you doing?
Cruz, I'm doing great. How are you tonight?
I am doing fine. Senator, how's the family doing?
Thanks for asking. Kids are doing great. They're all in school. Everybody's healthy. Knock on wood. So I'm a really lucky guy. But I appreciate you, and you always do that. You always ask about the kids. In fact, they're all up right behind me in pictures.
I want to do something, Senator, so that the integrity of this broadcast tonight can't be approached at any point in time. So, if you will, I know this is not a quarter law, but the next series of questions for me, if you would answer them in the way that if we were in a quarter law and we were you were on the oath here. The first one is Senator Morrissey. Have you ever been?
Yes,
Have you ever been to any events that I've hosted?
I have been to several.
At any point prior to your coming on, have we had any type of in-depth conversation about what has transpired over the last several days?
No, this, we haven't talked about it at all.
Have you seen me since perhaps December?
I don't know. I think it's longer than December because I don't remember all this growing off your chin. And so it might be a few months.
Exactly. So my last question, Senator, at any point in time, have you personally given any type of financial donation to the radio station or to me personally?
Never.
Has there
Neither
been
you nor the station.
Has there been any promise of any type of compensation, favors, or anything else having come from you indirectly or directly?
Absolutely not. I've told you personally that I respect the fact that you go out into the community and you keep the community informed as to what's going on.
I certainly appreciate that, Senator. Of course, the last several days has been just a flurry of information that has been some things that have been alleged in reference to you and your family, specifically involving your wife. And we want to take an opportunity tonight for you to take us back to what transpired January the 31st in the city of Petersburg, and if I'm not mistaken, and the office of Delegate Kim Taylor.
Sure. Well, actually, it took place right here in the Capitol. I'm in my Capitol office right now, and it took place downstairs in Kim Taylor's office. And it's real simple. You know, I've got legislation pending where we're trying to get a casino in Petersburg. I get constituents from all over that want to come chat with me. And I say, yep, we'll talk about it. So this fellow who I had never heard of before, named Lafayette Jefferson, he calls himself a doctor, don't know if he is or not, asked if I would meet with him and two other people about the casino. I said, sure. Almost every single person I've spoken to in Petersburg said, we want this casino down here. So I'm going in there to meet with him, with Delegate Taylor. And right before I go in there, my legislative assistant said, I want you to see something. I did a little home research, and this guy put a Facebook posting up in 2019 about, and he referenced your wife. I said, what? And so I got the posting. It's here right now, right here, okay? And it makes it a reference to my wife being concurrently and continually raped. So I'm just looking at this being flabbergasted. And I said, that's the person I'm meeting? So we go in, and about 30 minutes into the meeting, the conversation turned to this casino being family friendly. And I said, you know, Mr. Jefferson, speaking of family, did you put this post on your Facebook where you referenced my wife being raped? And he looks at it and he falls dead silent, shocked that I have it. I said to him, I'm not going to ask you a second time. Did you put this Facebook post on your Facebook about my wife being raped? And he stands up and says, yeah, I did. And I said to him, if you ever threaten my children or my wife, I'll rip your heart out. And then nobody touched anybody, but that was the end of the meeting. And so what Mr. Jefferson is doing is trying to use this little, I would have let it go. You know, I think I gave him the message. I told him, you don't do that to anybody's family member. You're certainly not going to do it to my family. And, you know, I would have let it go. And then like a little boy, little puppy, he runs down to the police and comes back and says, you know, I ought to be able to go into a senator's office and not be threatened. Well, he wouldn't have happened if he hadn't made that outrageous allegation. And here's what's interesting. The two women that were with him, I came down to my office. They followed and went into my legislative assistant's office. And they said they were outraged by what he had done. They had no idea he had made that Facebook post. And they said it was rude. I'm reading right here. It was extremely rude. It was offensive. And because of that, they were calling upon him to immediately relinquish his chairmanship from the Petersburg NAACP. So let me just rephrase that. When those women that were with him, that came with him, heard what he had done and what he'd said about my wife, they came down and they not only said it, but they put it in an affidavit, one of the women did, that he should immediately relinquish himself. So anyway, that's the guy who Mr. Jefferson is. I hate to even give him credit by talking to him about it, but you know, he's a joker.
Joe, for the sake of setting the background and the foundation here, if you are not opposed to reading what was posted for the audience tonight. Some people may not be familiar with it, and some may. So we can have the backstory here.
Sure, be happy to. First of all, I forgot to mention that in 2019, when he made this posting, he was working on Senator Rosalind Dance's campaign, and I was campaigning against her. He put this Facebook post up on June 6th, 5 days before the primary, working for Senator Dance. This is what he says, the pertinent part. Joe will never get my vote. The irony is not lost on me. Thomas Jefferson, for all the things he did and accomplished, he accomplished those things while concurrently and continually raping a 14-year-old enslaved African girl. Joe, educated at Jefferson's home, follows in Jefferson's footsteps, certainly alleging that my beautiful wife and our beautiful children, that she too was continually raped. So, Cruz, you know me. Family is the most important thing in the world to me. And I'm not going to let any man disrespect my family. And here's the thing. My children, ages 4, 5, 6, and 9, the 9-year-old, she's now, they have friends. They're on the internet. They see things like that. They hear things. I don't need my children to say, why did some person talk about, reference your dad continuously raping your mother. So he's lucky. I had a few senators come into my office and they said, Joe, if I had been there, I would not have said, if you do this in the future, I'll rip your heart out. They said, I would have given him a good old fashioned whipping right there. So anyway, the guy's trying to run for city council against Mayor Parham, wants a little publicity. He thinks that this is good publicity for him, I guess. Who knows, Cruz? I hate talking about the guy because, I don't even know what he does. Just moved to Petersburg. I'm understanding he's separated from his family, from his wife, does construction, and calls himself a doctor. Maybe got his doctor's certificate in the back of a matchbox. I don't know. But I don't care who it is. I'm not going to take that from anybody, Cruz. You know me.
Joe, I, of course, being the studious person that I am, I went and looked at his Facebook. And let me say this also, and I'll say this again at the end of the broadcast. In order to make sure that we are not showing favoritism, I reached out to Dr. Jefferson, Mr. Jefferson, and I offered him a chance to also come on to this forum. And at this particular time, he respectfully refused and to come on due to possible litigation. So,
what a surprise! What a surprise! And he has the audacity to put a comment out like that in the out in the world, and not defend it, because I want the world, particularly folk in Petersburg, to see the kind of man that he is. First of all, he's not a man by talking about, another person raping somebody. So I am not at all surprised that he would fail to show up. But that's him.
Got a question, Joe, and this comes from the video where Mr. Jefferson states that you interjected your family, and that in that article he never mentioned your family. What do you say to that comment?
First of all, when we were meeting there, like I said, he brought 2 women with him. He started the NAACP chapter in Petersburg 2 months ago, I'm told. I think there's a total of 3 or 4 members, and he brought 2 of the women members with him. And so it got into the point about family, the casino being family friendly, at which time I had the Morrissey family calendar. And either to one or both of the women, I said, oh, by the way, here's the Morrissey family calendar. Can you see that?
Yes.
I said to the women, would you like it? And one of the women said, oh, no, I already got mine in the mail. The other one said, oh, I'd love to get it, Senator. And I scribbled something on and gave it to her. And then Mr. Jefferson says, oh, I'm good. Meaning, no, I don't want one. I said to him, speaking of family, this is exactly what I said. Did you put a Facebook post on 2 years ago with the reference to my wife being continuously and repeatedly raped? And he just goes like this, looks at it, doesn't say a word, shocked. And then I said, I'm going to ask you again. And he says, yeah, I did. And the two women were absolutely flabbergasted. That's why they came down to my office afterwards. And they said, even though we came with him, even though we disavow what he did. And one of the women has put on her own Facebook calling for him to give up his position. So, bottom line is, don't mess with my family. Don't mess with my family. Don't threaten my family. Don't make references to my wife being raped, or I'll whip your butt. Threaten my family, and you're going to feel the consequences.
So Joe, and along that same line, as a man, can you go back to not the politician but the man to explain again your mindset when you saw that information about
Sure.
and again
Well,
may I have to put allegedly.
It's as a man, and it's as a father. Who would any man out there that saw that somebody put a posting characterizing his wife as somebody that was repeatedly raped? What father, husband, man would tolerate that? Some of my Senate colleagues said the only thing that surprised them about the whole thing is that I didn't give him an old-fashioned whipping right there. But he's just a petulant child. I'll issue this challenge to him now. You want to play in the big leagues, Mr. Jefferson? Why don't you just run against me for the Senate? Why don't you do that? Put yourself out there. Don't hide behind your. Well, he's got this tiny little radio podcast. I'm sure there's about 10 or 15 people total over the course of a year that listen to it. And but when you're in politics, come out and put yourself out there. And I've got a few questions I'll ask him. With that said, Cruz, I got to tell you, I almost don't. I mean, it's almost not worth talking about him anymore. You know how you've met my children, you've seen them. They're always out there in public with me. They don't need to be hearing about this silliness out there that this Mr. Jefferson did. And it's almost like even talking about it now, he's probably, sitting down in his basement, just glad that his name is being mentioned out there. And it's like, if I'm in Petersburg and I'm eating at dinner at, the Croaker spot, and I walk out and, there is some inebriated person and I'm not saying that Jefferson was inebriated, but there's some inebriated person that starts screaming and insulting you. What do? You ignore them. You move on. That's what I should be doing to Mr. Jefferson. He is so inconsequential that after this statement, I just ignore the guy.
Joe, what would you like to say to your constituents and the people? Of course, you're in public office. People are going to say some things to those that say that you probably should have handled it in the more politically correct way.
I've heard from many of my constituents in Petersburg, black folk, white folk, black women, black men, to a person. And the women are more vocal than the men. They said, Joe, you should have whipped his ass right then. And the men said, I would never tolerate somebody referring to my wife being whipped, being raped. And if you do that, you're not a man. I thought I was very measured, very deliberate. There was no touching. I simply looked at him and I said, if you ever do that again, threaten my wife, threaten my kids, I'll rip your heart out. And guess what, Cruz? Just so he gets the message, Mr. Dr. Jefferson, Lafayette Jefferson, if you ever threaten my children or my wife, I'll whip your butt.
Well, that's pretty plain. And so again, one thing that I've learned about you, Joe, is that you're very straightforward. The last question of the evening is that, and I'm very careful how I want to phrase
Hey
this here.
man, just go ahead and ask it. You know me. I'm in a. I'm gonna be very candid. I'm a very direct person. You never have to wonder where I'm going, what I'm saying. I just say it. So don't worry about couching in the correct terms. Just say it.
Was there any premeditation in terms of the information being readily available and the fact that he has been in opposition of the proposal?
Great question. Absolutely none. The name Lafayette Jefferson means nothing to me. Never met him before, never heard his name, but I take a lot of meetings, and my staff, when I'm going into the meetings, they'll usually give me some background information on it, and on who I'm meeting, that type of thing. And when I went in there, they said, we did a research and we found this Facebook posting. And I was just shocked. And I put it in my pocket. And then when the family issue came up, that's when I broached it with him. But it was from the very beginning. I said to him, Mr. Jefferson, are you here on behalf of the NAACP or yourself? And you know what he said? He looks at me and says, what difference does it make? And that attitude, that surly attitude, I said, well, no problem, was evident from the very beginning. So zero. Listen, there's lots of, I don't care, folks that have worked, against me in campaigns, and they might work for me next time. Or that's politics, man. I have no problem with that whatsoever. My problem is a guy that talks about my wife, makes a reference to my wife being raped. That's off limits, Cruz.
Joe, I certainly appreciate you coming on to our station and speaking out and clearing the air on things tonight. Of course, as far as my knowledge, you never run from a fight, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. And so we don't take this for granted, and we wanted to make sure that we were very objective in our purpose here tonight. And for those that are just tuning in, I did reach out to Mr. Jefferson, and at this time, he doesn't want to make a statement because of possible, and I do say possible here with quotations, of any future litigations. But I'm gonna give you the closing words, Joe, and you can say whatever you want to say to your constituents, to your family, and anybody else.
Sure. Cruz, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. It's an honor to be on your show. And I'll say this, that I teach my children that when they're out there, you always defend your little brother or your little sister, always. The other thing that I say is, if you ever see a bully out there and they're bullying somebody else and you don't do anything, you are equally guilty. If you've seen somebody bullying somebody else, I expect you to intervene. And one of my little boy, Chase, said, well, Daddy, we could get in trouble with the principal. And I said to him, if you are defending somebody else who's being bullied, I will always have your back. Don't worry about that principal. You go to that person's aid. And so, people in my orbit, they expected me to defend my clients. They expect me to defend my constituents. And I'm going to do that. And how can they expect me to defend them if I were not to defend my own family? It's as simple as that. Cruz, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Joe. Certainly appreciate it again. To the kids, I said hello, Maverick and Chase, and I always and Bella. I always miss one, but I tell you,
Kennedy.
Yeah, Kennedy. All right, so getting better with that, man.
Yeah, I certainly will, Cruz. And by the way, I like this stuff.
Yes, 2 years now that we've grown this, so I want to see if I get the ZZ Top thing going on here.
You're well on your way.
Don't go anywhere, Joe. Everybody, again, we want to make sure that if you missed the beginning of the broadcast, you can go to our YouTube page, which is Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8 YouTube. This is also aired on our Cruz Inc. Radio Facebook page and also on the Richmond VA Things to Do page. Certainly, again, because of the severity of the topic here and all parties involved, we wanted to be very, very fair about everything that we did tonight so that there would be, again, no misconceptions about where I stand, what I do when it comes to media. It had been said in the past, I'm going to say it now, that I did not approach certain people during their candidacy. And I will say to you, I always have an open forum. You can call me, contact me to come on this program, and I will do that. But certainly, I don't take very kindly to people dismissing what we do here. I have a team that's very serious about what they do. They volunteer all over the country, and we try to do just that, inform people about what's going on. So with that note, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. We want to thank Senator Joe Morrissey for taking time out of his schedule to be here with us tonight. And want to let you know, whatever comes from the heart reaches the heart. Let somebody know how much you care about them before it is too late. And again, want to make sure that we're perfectly clear. If Dr. Jefferson wants to come on the program, we will allocate him time as well, so that again, all parties can be heard. So thank you so much. You guys enjoy your evening. Go listen to Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8. We got the best music on the internet. It's your boy Cruz, and this has been another episode of Cruz Inc. Radio 102.8.
Series presents Raw Romance Readers and Writers Experience. Save the date, October 28th and 29th, 2022. Brown Book Series presents Raw Romance Readers and Writers Experience, October 28th and 29th, 2022 at the Westin Old Town Alexandria, featuring some of your favorite romance authors: Brenda Jackson, Beverly Jenkins, Iris Bowling, Deborah Fletcher Mello, and so much more. The Raw Experience will include book signings, meet and greet, photo ops, vendors, shopping, surprise celebrity guests, and live performances. Registration is wide open at brownbookseries.com. Save the date, October 28th and 29th, 2022. Brown Book Series presents RRR.